Hello, and welcome to Roly Poly Weight Loss. I am your host, Roly Poly. All right, let's get our 15 minutes started. Okay, awesome. So, guess what today is? Today is day 2. Yay! We made it to day 2. And you know how on Monday when I said that day 1 is the hardest day? I kind of lied. Day 2 is the hardest day because I am willing to bet that you, like me, have had a lot more day 1s than day 2s. Now, part of that is, as I talked about last time, you are so eager that you're actually doing it, you're actually having day 1, that you go too far. You go all out, you work too long, you end up sore or tired or hurt or whatever, and the next day, the last thing you want to do is have it be day 2. Another reason that day 2 doesn't often happen is that, especially if you're deciding not to do 7 days a week, is that the day after day 1 doesn't have to be day 2. And you can put it off and put it off and put it off until suddenly a week, a month, several months have passed and day 1 is a faint memory in the distance. Sometimes the reason you had day 1 is because you unexpectedly got off work early, or you woke up early when you actually set your alarm instead of hitting snooze 4 times. And day 2, that magical alignment of the stars just doesn't happen. All of those reasons that you might not have had a day 1 could happen on day 2. So there are a lot of reasons that day 2 doesn't always necessarily happen. But we did it. We are here on day 2. It is happening. This is day 2. So, what shall we talk about today? Well, I said I would talk about hydration on another day, and that day is today. Today is Hydration Day. Why is that? Because drinking water is literally the second most important thing I need to talk to you about. In his book, The Skinny Rules, Bob Harper, from The Biggest Loser, lays out 20 rules for weight loss. Guess what rule number 1 is? Water! As he says, at a minimum, I want you to drink a large glass of water before every meal, but I'd prefer that you drink at least 5 glasses of water a day. The first one within 15 minutes of waking. Okay? He references an Israeli study that proved that just by drinking water, your body increases its burning of calories. Well, that's pretty awesome. Now, we're not talking, a pound a week just from drinking water. More like a couple in a year. But that's without changing your food or exercising or anything. Literally, just by drinking more water, doing nothing else different, you can lose a couple pounds. So that's pretty amazing right there. So Bob asks for a minimum of 3 large glasses, and really 5 every day. So what is the most common thing we hear? 8 glasses. Well, those are 8-ounce glasses. And when you look at it, an 8-ounce glass isn't all that big. Most of the ones we use are 12 or 16. This is an 8-ounce glass. This little guy, okay? My water bottle here is 20 ounces. And while I have it, So that means I only need to drink a little over 3 of these to hit my 8-ounce glasses, which is 64 ounces. So 3 of these is 60. And then 4 more is probably, I don't know, about a fifth. Easy. But is that really all we need? I mean, Bob specified large glasses, which are probably 12 or 16 ounces. Well, for that, we turn to the Mayo Clinic. So in their article on water, which I will link, they say that the 8x8 is the easy to remember minimum. Ideally, they say women should drink 11.5 cups, which is 92 ounces, and men should drink 15.5 cups, which is 124 ounces, which is yikes. So, after that bit of terrifying news, there is good news. That doesn't all have to just be water. Fruits and vegetables have water in them. So do other drinks like milk, juice, tea, coffee, and so on. So you can get some of your water, Mayo Clinic recommends about 20%, from these other sources. It doesn't have to just be chugging water bottles all day long. Now, technically, you can even get water from soda, energy drinks, and things like that. You shouldn't, but you can. Now, the reason to drink water before a meal is so that your stomach is preemptively full of water. So you eat less because there's less room in there. But you also need to drink water while exercising, which you see me doing. The Mayo Clinic, again, says that you should drink water before, during, and after a workout to compensate for the liquids you're sweating out. If you're exercising for more than an hour, especially if it's really intense, you can also consider a sports drink to replace electrolytes. Now, sports drink, not the same thing as like a Red Bull or soda or, sadly, my favorite, vitamin water. Even though it says electrolytes on it, believe me, I know it says electrolytes on it. It's not actually the right kind of sports drink. It is a lie. So that is not what you should be drinking. You can see this lovely thing used to be a vitamin water. It is no longer a vitamin water. It is just a water, because I am being good. Now, a lot of other things, like your health, your environment, your weight, can also influence how much you should drink. Somebody down in, Southern California on the beach, and somebody up in Denver, Mile High, different water amounts. Somebody in, Florida, where it is crazy humid, and somebody in Arizona, where it is crazy dry, different amounts. So you should look into the recommendations for your specific environment, as well as anything like being sick, being pregnant, if you're overweight, if you're underweight, all of those will influence how much water you should be drinking. So, if you're trying to get to that magic 11.5, 15.5 number, or whatever number your, math and calculating of variables tells you should have, then the best thing you can do is to find a simple way to keep track of how much you're drinking. You don't want to rely on your memory, especially when you're getting up to numbers like 11 and 15 glasses a day. If you're the kind of person who keeps a physical food journal, track your water there. It's perfect. Me, I'm more of an electronic person. I prefer apps and things on my phone to keep track of those sorts of things. And there are several apps, one could even say dozens of apps, that let you track your water intake. There are apps specifically for water intake. There are also apps that are multi-purpose. So if you have a Fitbit, like so, the Fitbit app has a place to add water to it. If you use a food tracking app, like MyFitnessPal, they do as well. There's a place to put water right in there. But my favorite app is called Plant Nanny. And this is largely, or wholly, because, as you will hear from me semi-often, I am not just motivated by the need to lose weight. That's not been enough in my life. One thing that helps motivate me is getting something shiny. So Fitbit badges are fantastic. Walking in 5Ks, which you will see in my shirt is a 5K. When I get a little medal, fantastic. Plant Nanny, I love because it gives me pretty things to motivate me. So, with Plant Nanny, you can earn plants. And for all the water you drink in a day, your plant gets watered. And if you do not drink enough water, your plant will shrivel up and die. But it's not like a real plant that costs money that you will actually kill. It's just a little digital plant. So there's none of that guilt of actually killing a real living thing. Just a little bit of guilt about electronic death. So Plant Nanny actually asks your weight and how much you move in a day. So if you put that you weigh 273.6 pounds and that you are largely sedentary, it calculates your personal water goal. And with my stats right now, mine is 141 ounces. And I thought that the 11.5, which was 92, was impossible. But no, that's more than the Mayo Clinic recommends for men of 124 ounces. That's how much my extra weight affects how much water I need to take in. So, 141. I could cry. Of course, you are able to change your numbers by changing your weight or how active you are, and you can get something a little closer to the Mayo Clinic baseline that seems a little more reasonable to achieve. When I started on this app, I actually weighed less, and part of that long backstory I said I will get into later is that things changed and I have since gained more weight. But my old weight baseline was 127 ounces, which is right about on where the men should be according to the Mayo Clinic. I think that's a little more reasonable to achieve. I will work my way up to the amount of water I need, just like I am working my way up to the number of days I need to exercise and how much I need to exercise. But in the meantime, I will fudge things a little to put it at something I can achieve with my slow and steady pace. So my aim is the 127 ounces. Now, the cool thing about Plant Nanny, well, one of the cool things, is that it has different amounts of containers that you can use to water your plant. And like I said, this one is 20 ounces. So you can go in and say, I need a 20-ounce drink to add, because that's how much water I just drank. Now, if you have a water bottle that you use every day consistently, like my 20 ounces, or if you have like a 32-ounce Nalgene, or if you're sticking with little 8-ounce cups, you can set that to be your usual 15. Your usual size drink, and it's right on the main screen. You can just tap it to add your standard drink to it. And then you watch your plant grow, and when it grows big and strong, you buy a new plant and water it. So I have a little collection of plants now, and that motivates me to keep them alive. That motivates me to drink my water. So, once again, we did it. We hit 15 minutes. It's a miracle because day 2 is done. This is day 2 and we did it. Okay? I'm gonna drink some more water. Because as we have said, water is very important, and as we have established, I need to drink a lot of it every day. And everyone does, much more than they think. If you can only start at 64 ounces, if you can start with 8 cups a day of 8 ounces, or 5 cups a day that are maybe 12 ounces, do what you can. Start small. Get a tracking app, whether it's, or a tracking paper notebook, whether it's part of something bigger or whether it's a water-specific app, like Plant Nanny, which, again, it's really fun. Do what you need to do to keep track of your water and get it done. And remember to drink water before, during, and after your exercise, as I have been doing. So we did day 2. On to day 3. And I promise I will not start by saying that I lied and day 3 is the hardest. It really was just 1 and 2. So I am going to finish my water and then refill it. And I will let you get on with figuring out your own water number and figuring out how much you need. This has been Roly Poly Weight Loss. As always, I am your host, Roly Poly, reminding you to go ahead and share what your numbers are. How much does the math say you need to drink every day? And how much are you actually drinking? Because I thought I was hitting that 8 mark, and I was hitting like the 8 ounces a day. So share in the comments or blast out on your social media what your numbers are.